conference, it's a competition, then they will judge your performance as a delegate, and then we're going to give feedbacks and everything. But basically, their role is to facilitate a debate, to moderate the debate. And then actually there are other words for chairs. There are directors, chairperson, board of dais, and they're actually the same. The second term is general speakers list. This is actually the very first speeches that you're going to deliver, where when you enter a new community session or even a new conference. In the general speakers list, usually you can talk about anything, not specifically under one motion. And then the time for the general speakers list usually will be 1 minute and a half. And if you want to speech under a certain motion, then you're going to enter a session called moderated caucus. In this moderated caucus, this is a formatted debate, so there are certain motions that you're going to talk about. There are certain limitation for each speakers, and there's certain limitation for the whole speech session. The fourth will be unmoderated caucus. This is actually a debate in which you can move around, not staying seated. And then in this unmoderated caucus, you can negotiate with our delegates and then explain your solutions or explain your stances in a more in a more flexible manner. And then there's a motion in which this is actually a very specific topic that you're going to talk. For example, the grant team, let's say we took the team from the yesterday's internal simulation, which is the burden of mental illnesses. Then the motion will be for example, national health facilities for mental health, or maybe countries' stances on the international mental health collaboration and everything. So motion is a more specific topic that you're trying to bridge from the general theme. Next is study guide. Study guide, and maybe some of you have already been familiar with this. Also, study guide is a topic explanation from the chairs. It usually contain karmas, question and answers, resolutions must answer. So these karmas actually is a hint on how the chairs, board of directors projected the debate, and then it also contain a little bit information about the chairs, a little bit information about the council, about the topics, past action, possible solutions. Is basically a guideline that will be sent to you from the committee before you enter the conference room. The next one is blocks. Yeah, blocks is actually a group that you feel like you have the similar ideas or opinions or stances about a certain topic. A block usually consists for a council, usually there are 2 to 3 blocks, depends on the how divisive the topic is. It is also possible to have 1 block for a council. Yeah, especially if the council is small delegates. Yeah, have a small number of delegates, for example, like 10 or 12. It is very possible to have 1 blocks only. Next one is working paper. Yeah, maybe you are also familiar with this term. Working paper is basically a bunch of compilation of solution from many delegates, and then this is this is actually quite flexible in terms of its formatting. You can make it on PowerPoint, you can make it on PDF, you can also make it a video, which is that's very rare, but you can. And draft resolution is yeah. No. Okay. I'm going to continue. So the next one is the more formatted one, which called draft resolution. Yeah, draft resolution is a transition from the working paper usually. So in working paper, no rules, no formatting and everything. But in draft resolution, it must be written in a certain format. Even for the clauses, yeah, this actually will be explained later on, but draft resolution is a more visual type of a solution. Then sponsors is a delegate who actually actively contributed their ideas on that working paper, on that draft resolution. The number of sponsors varies between councils. There are some councils who have two sponsors, who have one sponsors. It depends on the number of the total delegates on that council. Next one is signatories. Signatories is actually the one who wish that draft resolutions to be entertained, to be presented, but they doesn't have to be in favor totally with the whole resolutions. Merging is basically if you have two blocks at the very first time, but at the end of the day, after discussion, after thorough discussion, then you realize that it is very okay to combine both solutions, both travel solutions, both blocks to actually merge and make one bigger blocks or one travel solution. Yeah. Up until now, is there any questions about MUN terms that you're still having? Yeah, confused. You can raise your hand. Yeah.
So, what is the difference between signatories and sponsors?
Okay. So of course, for the sponsors, there's a limited number or maximum number of sponsors. Usually two or three number of delegates, and then sponsors are the one who are the most contributive to the draft resolution. And then usually a block determine the sponsors by, yeah, this is actually part of strategies later on. If you're growing as a delegate, you can vote for a sponsor. For example, there are 11 member of your blocks, and then you want to determine a sponsor, then you can vote which delegates you think are the most contributive and the most representative. Their solutions are the most representative to the identity of the block. But signatories usually there are minimum signatories of a, yeah, there are minimum signatories. For example, for draft resolutions to be considered to be recognized by the chair, they need certain number of minimum signatories. So for the sponsors, there's a more exclusive one. There are only two or three delegates. They are the most contributive delegates, but for the signatories, they are contributing to the draft resolution or the working paper, but they are not the most contributive ones. And then in the working paper, usually we don't have sponsors, we only have submitter. Yeah, maybe that's the main difference. Is that clear, right, Saya? Is that clear?
Can I ask more?
Yeah, sure.
Can small countries be sponsored?
Oh yeah, sure. Sponsors here are not the one who are the big donors in the real world or everything. Small countries, or yeah, do you mean developing countries or small countries? They can actually be a sponsor if they're contributive in the debate, if they're contributive in giving solution or in writing the draft resolution or working paper. It is very possible, but then again, it depends on the how your block determine the sponsors. Is it by voting or is by the close voting? So the delegates who write the most clauses will be the sponsors. It is, yeah, it is actually very depending on how your block will determine the sponsors. Is that clear?
Can I ask one more, please?
Yeah, sure.
Because I have like bunch of questions when I was in the simulation.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, how many resolution can we put in a working paper?
Oh, there's no minimum or maximum number of solutions. But one thing that needs to be considered, maybe if you haven't discussed about that solutions in the debate, then you shouldn't put it on working paper or draft resolution. So you need to bring it on the speeches first, your speech first, then you can put it on the solutions. Okay. Okay. Maybe we can continue. This is the example of the conference documents. This one is a draft resolution. So This is quite different actually. There is proposers, seconders. For each international delegation, they have their own style of determining, yeah, the terms. This one is from Asia Pacific Model United Nation Conference. So AMAN uses a style of having proposer and seconder and signatories. So proposer are the one who are going to present the draft resolution. Seconder are the one who are going to defend the draft resolutions. So at the end of the day of your conference, like your internal simulation, I don't know actually, did you present your working paper or not? But at the end of the conference, you're going to present your draft resolution. The one who presented is the proposer. The one who answered the questions about the draft resolutions will be seconder. But for other international delegation, they use sponsors and signatories. The topic proposer sector, and then this one is draft resolution also, but this one use sponsors and signatories. Maybe a little bit tips. You need to ask your chairs about their preference in terms of the signatories. Me personally prefer to have this all signatories on alphabetic manner. Yeah, I know it's a hassle, but it's more like neat, and it will be easier for the chair to actually yeah recheck about the signatories and everything. So you can ask about their preference before you submit the draft resolution working paper. Okay, so for the pre-conference documents, I think there are these three big documents. First of all, research metrics. This is all right. This is quite optional, and then this will be explained later on. Actually, we MUN Club is one of the first MUN Club who use this kind of research metrics, and then because we meet a lot of delegates, and then we feel like they they can actually learn from us, and a lot of delegates right now use this research metrics. So I believe that research metric is very useful, and then I will explain it later on. Then position paper is mandatory. You need to submit to the committee to be reviewed by chair, and then I'm going to actually I don't have the example, but position paper is a paper that you need to submit before you come to the conference as a delegate, as a representative of a country. The content of the position paper will be the problems identification, your country's stances. Your country's stances here refer to your past actions, then your stances in regards to the topics, and then the third one is the solutions. It usually will be 1 page or 2 page long for the position paper. And then this one is also optional. This called strategy paper. I call it strategy paper. This is optional. I will explain it later on also. This Yes, I will share this. I will share this slide after the meeting. This is an example of research metrics. So if you not notice in your study guide, there are karmas at the end of the study guides, right? And those karmas are usually the topics or the guidelines that chairs made to guide you in terms of the flow of the debate. So those 4 to 5 karmas, you actually research refer to the karmas. For example, this was my research metrics. I used the 2018 one because it has been so long since I use research metrics, although I stated before that it's useful, but I have my own preference using research binder, and I will explain it later on also. But research metrics is the one who usually have this kind of format. So you write the karmas, you identify the problems, and then you do research. To identify these problems, you do the research. First, of course, you read the study guide, you highlight the important points made by the chairs, and then you research the problems in regards to these karmas. For example, the karmas: what regulations should a country adopt to ensure the safety and accountability of traditional medicine? And then I'm going to research the controversies of traditional medicine regulations, for example, or the safety and accountability controversies in related to traditional medicine. And then I'm going to write it down at the problem section. And then for the past actions, of course, I will refer to the WHO past actions in regards to the traditional medicine. And then for the possible solutions, this is actually I represented Indonesia at that time, so I researched about the national policy in Indonesia and how it can be transformed to the international scale. So I use what works in Indonesia, and then I transform it as a solution that I will bring as Indonesia to the WHO simulation. Then this possible motion, if you saw a lot of delegates actually keep raising the emotions, they can actually prepare for it. You can actually prepare for it like before you come to the conference, you have in mind what kind of motions that you're going to discuss, and then you'll write this at this table, this column. This is actually very optional. You can write possible motion or quotes or data or anything. There's actually details that you can bring to the console, bring to your speech. Okay, this is the research matrix. Next is the position paper. Oh, I have this one. This is position paper. So you have this type of formatting. This is the logo of the console. This is the flag of your country, the name of your country, the committee, the topic, and your name. And then this one is usually quotes that will represent the whole arguments and the whole counterstances in regards to the topics. You need to find a good one. I think so. This is like, yeah, this is an example. So the first paragraph usually consists of the problems that you will be strategy paper. Motions. And then you can write this at the research matrix. This is actually quite advanced. You can search your potential partners, your potential allies, or your potential opponents. And then you can write it down in your strategy paper. Opinion and arguments. We're also going to give you trainings about rebuttals. Rebuttals is how you respond towards other delegates in a more substantive manner. Solutions matrix. Yeah, usually a delegate, you can bring 3 to 4 solutions to the council. It is actually up to you, but strategically, you can bring 2 or 3 solutions, and then each solutions you need to make sure. Okay. You need to make sure that each solutions are comprehensive enough. I love to make it the solutions at the 5W 5W1H format. So to make sure that my solutions is what is my solutions, why is the solutions is good, why is the solution is feasible, and then when is the solutions can be implemented, when is the solutions will uh, will be implemented, who are going to be responsible for the solutions, everything. So use that format. Yeah, before that, any question about the pre-conference documents? How many pages are made for the position paper? It will be around 1 to 2. Pina Ataya. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm going to. Is there anyone who is raising their hand? No. So I'm going to continue. Okay. So probably you have heard this kind of materials a lot of times. So there are 4 basic MUN skills. The first one is research. Second is speech. The third one negotiation. Fourth is drafting. Actually, you to be a good delegate, to be a great delegate, you don't need to master all of these 4, of course. But you need to maximize which skills that you are most confident with. For example, you're very good you're very good at speech, and then you can deliver a lot of good speeches, and then you can find yeah, potential allies that is good at negotiation, and then you can work together and complete each other. Yeah, of course the word is one for individuals, but at least you can get a block, because yeah, you're lacking in negotiation and everything. So you need to understand which kind of skills that you are the most confident with, and after that you can determine your strategies in, yeah, in doing the simulation or conference. Now I'm going to give a little bit tips for the research. This is about the research metrics. Of course, research about your consul's mandate. This is a very basic steps, yeah, actually for the research. We're going to have trainings, that in-depth trainings about research later on. But the very first thing is, of course, you need to understand your consul's mandate. For example, uh, UNHR, UNHRC, Human Rights Council. That council only has a very limited mandate in which, or SOCOM, yeah. SOCOM is social humanitarian. That council has a very limited mandate in which usually their framework is promoting, their framework is collaborating with other UN bodies. So if you want to make a new law, then it is not feasible. Then your solutions will go wasted, and then you yeah, first you cannot get their blog. Second, you will be judged by the chairs not for not having a comprehensive research. So the very first step is understanding your council's mandate. Second one is understanding your country stances. For example, mm, you can actually research your ongoing controversies in regards to your foreign policy. For example, U.S. China, of course, you're going to have like certain differences, different point of view with U.S., or you're going to side with these specific countries, and yeah, 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 you understand what I mean. And then the third one is research about your country's past actions related to the topic. This is actually very important, because if you have managed to analyze your solutions, your current solutions as a country, you're understanding the loopholes of the solutions, and then you fix you're improving that solutions and bring it to the console, then it's more legitimate, rather than you're imagining a solution or you're using other countries solutions, because of course the challenges in implementing solutions are different from one country to another country. So it's better for you to understand your country's solutions, your country's past actions. The next one is research about your country's comparative advantage and power. Yeah, this is actually also important, because as a country, of course, you have a certain preference discussing certain topic. So this will determine on which side you're going to form a block, and then on which side you're going to direct the debate, and which motions that you're going to vote in favor. Not only because, oh, I think I haven't researched that much about this motion, then I'm not going to be in favor for this motion. That's not how it works. But you need to research about, yeah, actually it is better for you to research about a lot of things, but to be in favor for certain motions, or to be in favor for certain arguments, you're very, yeah, wait a minute, you're analyzing your country's position. Okay, Leo, do you have a question?
Kak, I would like to ask question. How do you conduct research if you are given a country stance that you are not familiar with, like new countries, and there is no specific informations on the Google when you type on the countries?
Okay. um Actually, there are a lot of, yeah, first of all, if you have tried your best to research, then it's okay. You can actually frankly say in the conference that we haven't conduct survey, we haven't conduct our research, our national research in regards to this matter. For example, we're discussing about green economy, and then your country has zero data about that. Yeah, of course, as a representative of country, you can say that you haven't conduct a national scale research or national scale survey about about this certain data, but you're planning to, for example. Or yeah, you can actually like I don't know how it goes. uh you need to know when to admit that you're having a lack of data, and when is actually your research is lacking. It is actually a different point. If you're lacking in research, it means that the data is there but you cannot find it. But if your country is lacking in data, it means that the data is not even there, so of course you cannot bring anything, and rather than you're making it up, it's better to admit it, and then convey the other countries on why you still don't have that kind of data and why your solutions is valid even if you don't have the data. Is that clear? Yeah, so it is very
Yeah, it's
okay if you
clear. Thank you.
cannot find a certain data or a certain news or a certain country stances about a topics, or even you can actually learn the movement of your countries from the past actions. Usually, if even if the topics is different, if this country is environmentalist, then of course for the carbon taxing and everything, they will be in favor. They will, yeah, they tends to be in favor. But if you saw that from the past experiences, this country are not, yeah, these countries are capitalist or even more liberalist and everything, it means that yeah, this country is not going to be in favor for this kind of solution. So yeah, to determine the country stances, there are actually a lot of ways. Maybe for details, some of our coaches will explain for the research. Okay, thank you, Rio. I saw another one, Havis.
Uh, Kak Caroline, can you give suggestions for us, like for the websites that we could start for researching things and such? The websites
Yeah.
recommendations.
Mm, yeah, first of all, of course, the council's official website. So you need to understand the council mandate, voting procedure, current member states, the structure of organization, uh, their work. For example, if you open the UNHRC or any UN bodies, then you can find our mission, our vision, and our work, our partners, and then you can just click all of that, and then the next one, of course, the news. I don't know if there's a website that you're referring to, but I personally would love to research from news because it is more like diverse. Certain the same topic or the same headline can actually bring different, a very divisive or very contrary context and very contrary, yeah, context actually. So I can compare which one is more, yeah, which one is more beneficial if I bring the console. The next one, there are a lot of websites actually for the research. Uh, yeah, maybe for the research topic, we're going to provide the links later on for the next session of trainings. Thank you, Havis. Next one, I'm going to continue this first. The fifth point, yeah. Research about a country's allies and enemies. Yeah, this is for the delegates mapping that I mentioned before. At least you understand which countries are your allies, which countries are your enemies or opponents, and then you can further research on their potential solutions, their potential movements. Begin. Actually, this one is quite tricky because if a delegate bring false research materials, then you cannot predict their movement. But still, because you have researched before, so you understand that this delegate's country stances are yeah, are not correct. So yeah, maybe for the research about the country's allies and enemies, you can research after you finish the whole other topics, begin with answering the karma. This is why research metrics is very beneficial, especially for the newbies in MUN, because usually you don't know the flow of the debate or the main intention or the point of the debate that you're going to bring to the council. So it is strategic for you to start by answering all the karmas, analyzing its problems, analyzing its past actions, and then make the potential solutions or the possible solutions. Next, what do I talk about my speech? This is a general one. Problem, contestants, and solution. This is for the general speakers list. And then I have this example. You can actually read it later on. But my tips for speeches, maybe to make sure that your problems identification are clear, use signposting. So use the first problem, second problems, third problems, and then for your country stance, ensure that you emphasize on a certain points that is this the point of your country stances. Then for the solution, solution, if you have saw that some of the delegates use spending, for example, PAP, private and private and public, or what, it is actually okay, but to attract the attention of the other delegates. But be careful on the process of writing it on the draft resolutions and working paper, because usually because you have the similar solutions with other delegates, then your solution is going to be combined, your solution is going to be sometimes eliminated from the draft resolutions. So of course your presence are going to be decreased. So yeah, pay attention to that kind of details if you can. But the speech, we also have speech focus training. Okay, now for the drafting. This one is the example of working paper. The left one, the committee, the topic. So there are no certain clauses, there are no certain terms that you need to follow. But at the draft resolutions, at the right one, recognizing the urgent condition, blah blah blah, guided by blah blah blah, taking note of blah blah blah. You can actually Google what kind of terms are allowed and what times are not. Maybe because you guys didn't make draft resolution, I will explain draft resolutions more. So in draft resolutions, there are two sections. The first one is preambulatory clauses, and then the next one is operative clauses. This one that you see in this slide is preambulatory clauses. So for the preambulatory clauses, you use italic for the first words. But for the operative clauses, approves, authorize, calls upon, you underline the words. The difference is actually for the preambulatory phases. From the preambulatory clauses, you actually analyze the problems identification. You re-emphasize the problem identification. You're alarmed by the condition or the high prevalence of or high data of blah blah blah. But in operative clauses, you're going to explain more about your solution. Okay. Oh, I didn't know. Ini kalian ini ya maghrib ya? Ada berapa orang yang mau sholat dulu? Adakah?
Yeah, I think it's okay to like pause the training for a while until grip selesai.
Yeah, okay. But we're going to restart again at 6:15. Yeah,
Okay. Hello guys. I think we can continue the training session. So yeah, Caroline.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to continue for the negotiation section. Okay, so what should I do in negotiation? So there are things that you can do. First of all, is of course forming a block. How to form a block? First of all, you observe the speeches from other delegates. You negotiate under unmoderated caucus, right? And then in unmoderated caucus, you are flexible to move. You're flexible to, yeah, if it's not online, you're flexible to move. Then you can talk to another delegates that you think have similar ideas, that you think are on the same page, that you think are having the same country stances and everything. So that's the first thing. Second thing is during the general speakers list, during the motion, during the moderated caucus, you can actually write a notes for other delegates, right? And then during that time, you can ask whether or not they want to be at the same block with you or not. So if you feel like this delegate have a great idea, you feel that you and this delegate are having the are having a common principles on certain issues, or and yeah, you think that you can complete each other, so you can write the notes to other delegates and then you can send it even during the caucus or during the motion. And then yeah, when you start the unmoderated caucus, then you can meet the delegates and then form a block. Second, after you form a block, you need to maintain it, because of course in the discussion you need to ensure that all of the delegate solutions are accommodated, they're being heard, they are they still have those commonalities even during the discussions progressing. For example, because there are two or three blocks, this delegate can actually move around, and then they will see which blocks are most suitable with them, right? So to maintain them, you can ensure that this identity of your the identity of the block is actually the identity of that delegates, these delegates, yeah, basically all the members of the block. That's how you'll maintain it. Second is generating ideas. You can It actually depends on what types of delegates or what types of negotiator are you. There are some delegates who prefer to lead the block. There are delegates who prefer to be very vocal about, yeah, directing the debate, about analyzing the problems, solutions, and everything. But there are also delegates who prefer to talk one on one, or yeah, form a small block first, and then make it bigger. So in generating ideas, you need to ensure that you are not too dominated. Yeah, you're not dominating too much, to ensure that other delegates also have same opportunities to talk about their solutions, and then talk about their opinions towards certain problems. And problems identification usually are being conducted during the moderated caucus. So in your speeches, you analyze the problems, right? But during the unmoderated caucus, usually you just generalize. Do you think this is problem? Yes, 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 yes. And then other delegates in a block agree, or even some at some points it is okay. But most of the discussion in non-moderated caucus usually are forming solutions, or analyzing what kind of loopholes that the solutions may offer, and then why we should opt into these solutions, and why the solution is bad, why the solution is good. The third one is, of course, drafting working paper and draft resolution. Usually in a conference in MUN, there will be 4 days and 3 nights conference. No, of course, the nights are not a legit conference, but during the nights, you are still needed to ensure that you can maintain your block, because usually MUN are very wild at night. So maybe your block members are being offered some other opportunities, and then they want to move blocks and everything. So yeah, draft working paper usually at the end of the first day or second day, and then draft resolutions usually on the third day. And then lastly is discussing the possibility of merger with other blocks. This thing usually can be done at the very end. Yeah, at the very end after you present your working paper. if you think that after discussion, after moderated caucus, you hear from the other bloc's point of view, their elaboration, and after unmoderated caucus, you agree that there is possibility of merger, then you can discuss it with your block members. Yeah, any question about the negotiation? Yeah, Kalisa.
When drafting the resolution, usually all delegates already has like a working resolution in mind, right? How do you combine those ideas? Like, I understand it's negotiating, but what if somebody's like really firm? I want to make sure that this resolution is the one.
Yeah. This is actually a very advanced topic in which for the negotiation, that kind of skill, you can gather that kind of skill along the way. But what will I suggest at this point, if you're newbies or this is your first times, you can ensure that the other block members are on your side. So, for example, you disagree with a certain solutions, or you think that the solution shouldn't be put into the working paper of draft resolution. Then you can elaborate your reason. Yeah, in our point of view, the solution is not feasible because this is actually blah blah blah. But your mission is not to attack the solutions. It's not to attack the delegates who possess the solutions, but to attack the solutions. So make sure your delivery, your way of explaining it and everything is to tackle down the solution. So the other block members can agree with you that the solution is not feasible if that's your point, it's not relevant if that's your point, or any other reasons. So you need to convince other delegates in that block if the solution shouldn't be put into, because if you're negotiating with the delegates who has these solutions, of course they want their solutions to be put in draft resolution, and it's nearly impossible for you to get them deleting their solution. So it is better for you to convince our delegates to be on your side. Is that clear? Okay.
It's clear. Thank you so much, Kak.
Is there any other question? No. So I think that's all for the MUN basics. For the MUN terms, the next thing will be I'm going to give some tips for the international delegation selection. Is there any one of you who are still doubting yourself or having any questions about the international delegation selection? Yeah, you can raise your hand or unmute your microphone. Is also okay. Or here's the thing. For those who wish to be a part of the national delegations, you can raise your hand. I want to see like how many people would like to join the international delegations. Okay, okay. There are a lot of people.
Halo Kak Caroline.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, sorry, I want to ask, maybe is out of the topic.
Okay.
Kan nanti habis ini kan tentang international delegations. But what I want to ask is about the national delegations. Since that I know that there from I know because before I join Uimun Club I have joined a few MUNs. Jadi kalau buat yang di nasional itu kan ada kayak beberapa MUN kayak Join MUN, Pressman, and such. Itu nanti UI itu kalau buat ke national delegation juga bakal ngirim nggak? Maksudnya ke MUN yang ada di Indonesia?
Okay. Of course, we're going to send national delegations, but we're also quite selective about what kind of conference that we're attending as national delegation. First, they need to have the best delegation team, if I'm not mistaken, from the opportunity division, because we're going to train those delegates who are going to join the national delegations. We're going to train them, we're going to coach them, we're going to even help them in terms of making solutions and everything. So it depends on what kind of the conference, but for now, because I see that I need to admit people. Yeah, because I see that there are a lot of conferences being postponed by the COVID-19 for this year at least. We haven't still we haven't determined what kind of conference that we're going to send the national delegation to. But we have national delegations.
Sorry, one more question. How about online MUNs?
Oh, for online MUN, we're not going to send any national delegations. Why? Because first, nature is different. Usually in national delegation, in online MUN, you can even only observe the conferences going on without actually trying to engage with the debate. So I think there are a lot of uh, free online MUNs opportunities. You can actually utilize this momentum as an opportunity for you to learn, to observe more. But in terms of the national delegation, yeah, we are not going to have national delegation for online MUN in a short period of time. Why? Because first is nature is different. Second, there are uh, no conferences that we usually attend as national delegations, making it online. So yeah, of course, we're not going to attend the national delegation. We're not going to send the national delegation to online MUN.
Crystal clear. Thank you for the explanation, Kak Caroline.
Okay. Because I saw that a lot of you are going to join the international delegations, maybe I will start giving the tips for international delegation selection. Okay, first, compare each international delegation. So, as all of you have known that we have quite some international delegations. We have 7, if I'm not mistaken. But every international delegation possess their own nature, and yeah, possess their own nature. And then you need to research first, find the most suitable to you to ensure that you can enter the international delegation, because usually the one who participate in the selection is 30 to 40 each international delegations, and then the one who are going to be accepted is 7 to 10, 7 to 10 people. So yeah, of course there's chance that you are not having an opportunity to join international delegation. So you need to first understand that this international delegation is suitable for you, so you can prepare, you can have a good preparation, and then you can join. Yeah, you can be accepted. Second, prepare your research on your topic. A lot of, I don't know, but based on my experiences, a lot of people actually are not preparing that much for international delegation selection. I don't know why. They said that they want to, but they don't have. Yeah, they say that they don't have time. They say that it's impossible for them to make the research matrix and everything. It is actually totally okay if you don't have those documents. We are not going to ask you to submit the documents, the research matrix, the position paper. We're not going to ask you to submit that. But to ensure that you can engage, you can deliver the speeches, you can negotiate with other members. Of course, you need to not only to have one solutions or two solutions, but to understand your country census, to understand the topics, to understand the council. So yeah, and another tips in international delegations, we're not going to search for a great delegates or anything, but we want to show potential. So of course, if you have shown it by researching well enough, then we can understand that you have done great in terms of your preparation, and then we will consider you to the next phase, which interview and everything. So, next is practice your speech and drafting. Yeah, usually in speech, in terms of speech, I think a lot of you won't have any difficulties. Let's say maybe because yeah, a lot of you are quite familiar on how to deliver a speech. Yeah, although of course maybe some of you feel you're not fluent enough, you're not knowing a great structure of the speeches and everything, but it is okay at least if you deliver a speech in the international delegation simulation. But in terms of drafting, mm, it is great if you can practice your drafting skill by actually drafting your solutions. So you have solutions, for example, first uh, making a task force, and you make it into a drafting format. So first calls upon member states to blah blah blah, make it in the Google Docs and everything, or in the working paper format. It is okay. You can actually practice your drafting skill before the international delegation simulation. Lastly, if of course be confident, connect with many people and ask feedbacks for the chairs. Why? Because usually, yeah, I thought that there's some people who only want to join one international delegation or two. Usually they want to join international delegations, anything, any international delegation. So they will sign up for almost every international delegations, and then they will attend almost all international delegation simulation. So there's a high probability that you'll meet the same person in different international delegation simulation. And if you have met this person in the first simulation, then you can utilize this connection to actually help you to in the second simulation. So for example, the very first one will be, I don't know what kind of delegation will be having their simulation first, but for example, SMAN, Singapore MUN. Then in the Singapore MUN, you are being bitchy, you're being annoying and everything. Then in your second international delegation selection, you're not going to have similar opportunity, but decreased opportunity, because of course you will be having a hard time to get a block and everything. But if you did diplomatic, did good enough, did proper research, do proper connection in the first simulation, then you can utilize it on the second simulation if you're not confident enough with the first one. And feedbacks for the chairs, it is actually it is great for your development, not only for the international delegation selection, but your future career in MUN. Now, what to be compared? Actually, the first one is nature. Every international delegation will give the same basic but different specialization. I will share it to you. We have seven, right? First, Harvard National. Harvard National is usually the consuls in Harvard Nationals are very big. They have hundreds delegates, so they are specializing their delegates in terms of negotiation, because it is very possible for delegates to not have a chance to deliver a speech. So, but everyone will have the same opportunity to negotiate with other delegates. And then Harvard National will be double delegation. So you will be paired with other delegations. Yeah, it can be single delegations, but most of the consuls will be double delegates. So you will be paired. That's for Harvard National. Harvard Woolman, quite similar with Harvard National. Harvard Woolman have similar nature, but Harvard Woolman are more mm, subtle in terms of their negotiation style. There will be double delegation and single delegation. Then the councils that you will be attending if you're accepted as a member of the delegation will be Ridoman by your coaches. Asia Pacific, Emang. Emang nature is very debative, I would say. So if you were ex-debater, or if you tend to hate the MUN who that is too diplomatic, then you can join AMANG or ESMAN. AMANG and ESMAN actually quite have similar thing, because AMANG usually are dominated by Australians, and Australian circuit, their way of playing with MUN is by uh, making sure that they have a valid research on the past actions, and then on the legislation, and then all the conventions and everything. So attention to details, and then responses, substance, arguments are very well known for among delegation. For ESMAN, uh, Singaporeans are very harsh in terms of MUN. Of course, they're not too diplomatic. They're not negotiation heavy, but most of their way of playing is by giving rebuttals, giving responses to other delegates. And then Taiman is also more negotiation, so you need to be a very chill person. Need to be very open-minded, to be open for any solutions and everything. Euroman is also like that. Euroman and Taiman is quite similar, I will say, because they're placed in the same region, European. So they have similar nature. Now, the second one is the coaches and alumni. Make sure that, because before you actually go to the legit international delegations, you're going to be coached. You're going to face the intensive training for approximately 8 months. So you need to ensure that you will survive by analyzing your coaches, your alumni, how they coach the delegates, how their types of trainings, how intensive their trainings will be, and everything. You can actually ask the head of selection from each international delegations. I think before you choose what kind of international delegation that you're going to apply, you're going to sign up for, you need to pay attention to this. You need to compare between delegates. Any questions?
Kyle, wanna ask?
Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you. If we want to become like influential in a council, should we lead the block or not?
Oke, ini Aisyah yang nanya ya.
Yes, Kak.
Oke. Yeah, I don't think influential equals to leading a blog, but yes, leading a blog makes you more influential. So you can still be influential even if you're not leading a blog. How? First, if your point of the debate is being discussed, so for example, you're raising a motion, then a lot of delegates are in favor into your motions. Then after you're delivering a speech in regards to your motion, other delegates feels like yeah, they're actually quite agree with your points. Then you're raising a motion again, then your motion passes again. It means that other delegates are in favor again. It means that you're influential because you manage to direct the debate, you manage to direct the motions. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're leading a blog. But leading a blog of course makes you more influential. Why? Because leading a blog you will understand that yeah, what kind of solutions offered by these blocks, what kind of solutions, what kind of identity this blocks is, what differentiate these blocks and other blocks, and then you can, yeah, you can talk more in moderated caucus. Yeah, maybe that. Any other questions?
You, Kak.
Oke, Asha, ada lagi?
Tapi ayunya itu.
Hah? Any other questions? Ini yang masih raise hand nih gara-gara yang terkedal tadi atau yang apa ya? Top Herginting. Apa nih? Joyce. Joyce mau nanya. Nggak habis.
Oh, I forgot to lower my hand.
Oke. Cool.
Saya pengen nanya lagi, boleh kan one more question?
Iya, ya boleh.
Kan tadi kan Kak Caroline bilang kalau misalnya udah jadi interdel ya Kak, kan kayak masa preparation kan rata-rata hampir 8 bulan ya. Dan nanti itu kalau misalnya sebelum mereka berangkat itu mereka disuruh ikut MUN dulu nggak Kak? Kayak cari pengalaman dulu MUN di Indonesia atau di mana, ikut dulu kayak gitu. Jadi biar punya pengalaman langsung ikut MUN kayak gitu maksudnya, para interdel itu.
Oke. Nah, jadi for all international delegations, they will have this thing called probation period. So you're obliged to practice your skills in national MUN or international MUN. It is also okay. Then in this probation period, sometimes some international delegations are making it mandatory to win an award. To win an award. So yeah, of course, before you join the international delegations, you need to come to the national delegations to practice. Oke.
Oke, makasih Kak untuk jawabannya.
Ada lagi mau nanya-nanya tentang
Mimi?
Yeah, sure.
So how about if we have some several awards before joining our first international delegation? So are we have to do join another conference before international delegation? Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Probation period is a must. So even if you, for example, you have this awards blah 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 before you join this international delegation, then when you enter international delegation, it's like you didn't have any awards. So we want to make sure that the coaches want to make sure that the trainings that they're given, the materials that they're given are being implemented in the national in the national scale, and you can actually prove that the trainings you can utilize the materials that you gain from the trainings. So you still need to win another awards after you join the national delegations. Why? Because when you join international delegations, you're improving along the way. Since first training, second training, blah blah blah, you're going to improve. You're going to have different skills. You're going to have different perspectives towards MUN and everything. So You still need to prove it, yeah, by winning national delegation, national conferences. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions?
How about if we not got it, the award? I
Yeah.
mean,
Other words, it depends. Yeah, depends on the coaches, depends on the types of international delegation that you're joining. Some will ask the feedbacks from the chairs because most of, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we will ask the feedbacks from the chairs on the tipping points and why you're not winning. If it's like, yeah, if it's a minor, then we can still proceed. But if it's not, then yeah, you're going to be probated. Basically, that's the main point of probation, to ensure that we can prove whether or not delegates can utilize the materials that we're giving. Gitu. Okay, Raffi.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you Kak Caroline for the opportunity. Here I would like to ask about, because this is my first time at MUN, so I would like to ask about what is the difference between crisis and a normal GA? Are there any difference? Are there any specific difference between them?
Crisis and normal GA. Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, of course there is a difference. So, crisis is quite yeah, it's different. Why? Because crisis is the problems or the topics or can be imaginative, and then you can usually use a past, yeah, you can use historical point of view, you can use futuristic point of view. And then during the crisis, actually every delegates have the rights to send directives, so it is legit actions. For example, Jessica Christina, as a delegate, send directives to the chairs that that she wants to kill Carissa Adelia, for example. Then if the crisis is being entertained, then Carissa Adelia will be killed. So it's more like on point, like ongoing crisis, ongoing issues. So the issues can be determined by the delegates, and then if the chairs entertain it, then it can be, yeah, legitimated, and then it can be, yeah, it can be a reality during the debate of the council. But in the UNGA, usually the topics, the issues are there even before, yeah, yeah, of course, before the conference. And then during the conference, you cannot manipulate data, you cannot yeah, you cannot make any necessary changes based on your own point of views. Maybe that's the main difference.
Okay, thank you Kak.
Mm-mm. All right, any other question? Nata, ini kita sampai jam berapa ya misalnya? Udah jam 7
Bebas
ya
if you want to like
Oh,
start
bebas.
like 4 menit lagi juga nggak apa-apa. Kan lagian kalau seandainya masih ada pertanyaannya kayak bisa di PC, baik ke coach-coach lain juga. Saya bisa ke gue, bisa ke Caroline juga. Bebas.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, feel free. I think for those who still want to have a question and answer session, you can stay. But those who are not, maybe you will have other classes or anything, you can actually leave this room. But don't forget to fill the attendance list.
Yeah.
Attendance list is on the chat box. Okay, is there any other questions?
Can I ask about your experience on Interdel? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So my first international delegation was Singapore MUN. My second one was Asia Pacific Model UN, and then my last one was Harvard World Model United Nations. Then I also had an opportunity to coach among 2020. 2020 and and MUN 2019. Yes, but how I compare those international delegations, I think at MUN, I learned a lot about structure of the speeches, about the content, about the framework of the UN itself. about the framework of the UN itself, about the UN bodies, and then for about the UN in general sih sebenarnya. But at AMANG, I learned more about strategies. So kayak pertanyaan tadi, kayak gimana caranya kita bukan ngapus sih, kayak solusi ini biar nggak masuk, gimana caranya supaya delegates ini nggak terlalu banyak omong, gimana supaya delegates ini banyak omong, gimana. I learned a lot about strategies itu di AMANG. Nah, di Harvard Worldman, I learn about delivery. I learn a lot about delivery sih, karena AMANG itu Harvard Worldman tuh memang lebih flowery, lebih diplomatic. Jadi I learn about poetic delivery speeches, terus about negotiation yang lebih halus juga, lebih subtle. Kayak orang juga nggak ngira kita leading, but actually we are the leader of the blocks. Ya gitu sih. Jadi I learn